Alright, this video, I'm gonna go over how to install the RSLK library. The library includes all the necessary header files, CPP files, that will include functions that you'll need to use to operate the robot. Basically, this library keeps you from having to write functions from scratch. Or write code from scratch. You don't have to start from ground zero. You can use this library examples to get started for each of the labs. I'm also going to go over how to find certain files and what you need to take away from those. So on Canvas, I've supplied you a robot library that other people have that has code that other people have written by myself, other people, Dr. Conrad. So make sure you download that from Canvas first. So you download that from Canvas, all right, and you can download that file to any folder you want. So to install that file or this library, you look here, we go to Sketch, Include Library. I do not have any type of RSLK robot library here. If I go to File Examples, scroll down, this was where my library would be. As you can see, I do not have one. Alright, if I go to my library folder, I have no robot library installed in here. Alright, now this is the location of mine. To know where your robot library is going to be, you can go to File, Preferences, and this is where all your libraries and sketches will be saved. You can change this if you want. The default, I think, is My Documents on Windows. Otherwise, you can just leave it there. Anytime you save, let's say I save this example, if I do Save As, you can see here in the sketchbook, Embedded Labs, ATV code, basics. This is all code that I have written. And when you save this code to your library folder, such as this one, alright, see if I go back one folder, Energia, you can see I have all the same folders of code here. So if you want to quickly access the code you've written or lab code that you've been working on, save to this folder. Do not save inside the library folder. This is for the library installs. But these are actual programs that I've written, or you've written whenever you're using the program. So to install this library, I'm just going to go to Sketch, Include Library, and I'm going to add the .zip library file that I asked you to download earlier. Once you download it, you don't need to extract it. Just leave it as a zip file. So I go to Add Zip Library. Mine is on my desktop. So here you'll see this is my zip file. I'm going to click Open, and it's probably going to take a few seconds. Basically, Energia is extracting it in the background. Here you see library added to your libraries. Check Include Library menu. So if I go to Sketch, Include Library, now you see I have this RSLK library. If I go to File Examples, if I scroll down, now I have this RSLK library with all these examples in here that I can use to write code from. If I go to my Energia folder and I go to Libraries, now I have this folder in here. If you'd like to delete this library for any reason, all you have to do is delete this folder and then restart Energia, and it will be gone from Energia. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but maybe you mess something up or a file and you just want to get rid of it. So now I can go here, File, Examples, and let's say I need to do some type of encoder or drive straight or something like that. Just open up Encoder Simplified. And you see here that Encoder Simplified has included this header file, and this header file will will enable you to use functions that have been pre-written to control your robot. So if we scroll down a little bit, in all of your programs when you're using special functions, you'll need to include setup RSLK. This is a function that sets up your RSLK in order for you to use certain functions. So you need that function, and you'll need this include file in your program. So if you don't start from one of these, you start from scratch and something's not working, make sure you've included these two right here. So as you see, we have these functions: setup LED, setup wait button, and then down here we have reset encoder count. So these are all functions that do something specifically for the RSLK that have been written and put into this library. So you can literally call these. So if I want to set a motor speed, I'll literally call this function, right? And I can set my both motors. This will allow you to put left motor or right motor as well, I think. So this library is super useful. This is what you're going to be using throughout the semester to make your robot or control your robot. So let's say we want to know what's going on in the background though. So we see this function, right? We see reset encoder counts, we see set motor speed, but we really don't know what it's doing or what code is being written for this. So if we want to know what's going on with that, we're just going to go to our libraries. We're going to go, or your library folder, go into the library itself, and we're going to go to source, SRC. And when we go into here, we're going to have the CPP and header files that contain all the functions and setup files that we needed for this library. That makes this library work, basically. So when we look in this header file, I would recommend downloading VS Code to view and edit any header or C++ files that you need to. This will also be needed for the lab code template. That'll be explained in another video. But so here we see we have launchpad right button, launchpad left button. All these variables have been defined. You have other include files or header files that are being included, so we can call those. So we have setup RSLK. Remember I mentioned that you would need that. You would need that in all of your programs. We have is bump switch pressed, enable motors, disable motors, resume motor, set motor direction, set motor speed. So all these functions are being defined. Now if we go to the CPP file, you'll see that the code has actually been written and we're initializing all of these sensors. So is bump switch pressed. So now you see the workings of this function. You can see what the code is actually doing. This will help you understand what's going on in the background when you're calling these functions. See, set motor direction. So here we have motor 0 and we have motor 1. We have two motors, right? So 0 and 1. And we set the direction of the motors by putting in a motor number or putting in a motor number and defining that. Like I said, you have left motor, right motor, both motors. Those are things you can call. And here we have set motor speed. So you see set raw motor speed calls these other functions. So it's really important for you to kind of know what's going on in the background so you can understand how to use the functions themselves. Okay, I think that's all. I don't know anything else to go over for this, but you will need this library. Make sure, once again, you're going to go to Sketch, Include Library, Add Zip Library, right? And then you're going to, wherever you saved the library that you downloaded from Canvas, you're going to go here and then click Open. And it'll take a few seconds, but you'll see down here it still says it for mine, library added to your libraries. And then you should be good to go, and you'll have examples that you can use to get started for all of the labs. All right, thank you.